Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and my goodness, we're in the middle of a British heat wave here. Now, I dare say that is not as hot as it is in some parts of the world where you're watching this video, and where it's often hotter, no doubt, than whatever we've got today, about 35 degrees Celsius. But I don't mean to be insensitive about other parts of the video. I'm just reporting that for me today, relatively, it is very hot. And the puzzle is called Some Like It Hot. This is why I have the excuse to mention that. It's by James Copp from Australia, where it's winter, but probably never that cold. But yes, you'd better like it hot if you're Australian. Now, of course, Some Like It Hot is the name of a marvellous movie featuring, well, Marilyn Monroe, although there's also Tony Curtis, and I think Jack Lemmon steals the entire movie and is absolutely fantastic. I don't know if that movie stands the test of time, but it always made me chuckle. It's very cleverly done. And it contains the word Keith within this title. So look at the word Some Like It Hot. This is what a crossworder sees the name Keith concealed in Some Like It Hot. But don't worry about me and my strange brain. We'll have a look at this puzzle in a moment. It's just a thermo Sudoku, and the just there applies to having a short rule set, not to it being an easy or difficult puzzle, I can assure you. And James always sets really interesting level puzzles for us, so we'll have a look at that in a moment. Don't forget that we will be coming out with a new Patreon reward on the 1st of July. Looking forward to bringing that to you, but till then there will be some solution videos appearing soon, and maybe some winners of the previous hunts, and of course we've got crosswords and connections videos up there, and we've got all of our apps. You can check out the apps. There is a marvellous thermo Sudoku app where you will see many puzzles like this, and we of course have Fog of War Sudoku and the latest Sudoku worms worming their way into your brain. Do try those. And of course SVEN'S SUDOKU PAD is linked under the video. We're suggesting you don't get our merch from Teespring at the moment until, well, probably ever, until we resolve with a different partner. But let's have a look at the rules of Some Like It Hot. And they say normal Sudoku rules apply. 1 to 9 will go in every row, every column, and every 3 by 3 box. And along a thermometer, digits will increase from the bulb end. They've got to get bigger as the thermometer gets hotter, grows, the temperatures go up. It's all very logical when you think about it. Anyway, let's have a go at this. Do give it a try on that first link under the video. I'm going to start now. Let's get cracking. Well, try as you might. You are never going to stop me Goodliffing thermos like these. And I get to use Sven's marvellous tool, where if you click and hold down on the second cell of a thermo, it'll highlight all the second cells of thermos of that length, etc. So I can populate all of these 6-cell thermos, of which there are 4 in various aspects of supine or prone humans, with the possible digits. And look what that does. You see, Simon would have worked this out immediately. He would have looked at those 2 rows and gone, well, 1, 2 and 9 can't be on the thermos, but it takes the pencil marking for me to spot that there is a sextuple of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in each of those rows. And that leaves us with 1, 2, 9 on the outsides. And I don't know what to do with that. I don't know. What can we do with that? Okay, what we can do with that is say that in this row, the 8 has to be in one of those 2 cells. So the tip of the thermo which has the 8 on here is going to have a 9 on. So one of those 2 is a 9, and now this cell isn't a 9. We do have a little break in the symmetry of these row 3, 4, 6, 7 thermos here, where this thermo is kind of the wrong way round to be mirror symmetric. Anyway, this is not a 9, and we can run that along the thermo. This is not 8, 7, 6, 5, not 4 in the bulb. And I thought that was going to help in some way. And okay, here's the next thing. Where is 3 in this row? I'm going to do the same in a moment in this row and see if it helps. But first of all, where is 3 in this row? One of those 2 cells. And what happens to the rest of the thermo with 3 on? It must contain 2 and 1. So 2 and 1 are, 2 and 1 are a pair in this row. They're either here or they're here. Now I don't know which it is, but I know that one of those 2 cells contains a 1. I don't really know how to pencil mark this. I mean, I could pencil mark across the row like that. But let's just try and remember that there's a 1-2 pair either there or there. Now, why I've highlighted this in orange as well is look at these oranges. They're a swordfish now. Probably not the right colour for a swordfish, but they are forming a swordfish. And that is a setup of 3 uses of the same digit within the same rows or columns, which will then translate into the other dimension. Now, what am I talking about? What I'm saying is that in row 3, the 1, I'm focusing on the 1 specifically now, is in one of those 3 cells. In row 4, it's in one of those 2. And in row 6, it's in one of those 3. Now, that's going to use all 3 instances of 1 in those 3 rows. But it's obviously going to use up 3 instances of 1 when you think about the columns of the puzzle as well. And those are going to be confined into columns 1, 2, and 9. And therefore, every other cell in columns 1, 2, and 9, including a number of thermobulbs, cannot contain, let's just make them green for the moment, cannot contain the digit 1 in the green cells. So let's start here on a thermo where I've pencil marked a 1. That's going to have to come out. This is the same thermo I was limiting from the back end. Now I'm limiting it from the bulb end. 2 comes out, 3 out of that cell, 4, 5, and 6. And now it must end in 7 or 8. We know that one of these ends in a 9. What else do we know? This could definitely be the 1, 2. That would leave this being 3, 4. Oh, it would also force where the 3 was here. Oh, hang on. This would have to go 1, 2, 3 if it's this side. Then this would have to go 4, 5, 3, because that 3 would see a 2 in its box. And if that occurred, if this was the 3 in row 3, that would force this thermo to go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the end. And I don't know what that means. That would keep 8 out of the other end of this. But it's only a supposition. Okay, what if this was the 1 and this was a 2 and this was a 3? I don't know. So it worked on 8. We know there's an 8 in one of those 2 cells. We know there's a 3 in one of those 2. Now, I was promising to do it down here. Look, what we've done to this thermo has created a quadruple of 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's only one place for 2 in the row and for 3, and there's our first digits. And this is a 1 on that bulb. And now we're off to the races. A Melbourne Cup, perhaps, for James. Except I don't think we are off to the races. I don't want to say that we're completely stalled again, having put 3 digits in. But I also don't want to say that I know what the next thing to do. Oh, I can remove... Oh, hang on. I completely mismarked these cells. These weren't a 1, 2, 9 triple. I'm sorry, I think I knew that in my head, but I didn't mark them correctly. They were a 1, 8, 9 triple, because this was a 2... Let's just rewind so you could see when this was, when I formed this at the beginning. I got it wrong, didn't I? Oh, no. No, that's interesting. I did get it wrong. I got the pencil marking wrong because there was a 2 option here. However, the stuff I did with 1s was okay, thank goodness. Marking them in orange was all right. So these pencil marks were wrong. These candidate marks were wrong in row 6. However, ones did form an X-wing, a swordfish, including the ones here, because 1 and 2 were still forced onto those. So slightly using the wrong logic, but well, using the right logic, but with the wrong markings. So my apologies about that. Anyway, we've now discovered that I mismarked these. However, what I achieved with the 4, 5, 6, 7 triple was all, let's just go back a bit. Yeah, we took 8. I mean, that was the very first thing we did. By taking 9 out of there, we took 8 out of this group. And then they became a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 set. So what I can now do is, yes, as I've done, I've restored these to be 1, 8, 9. I've got 2, 3 there. My apologies about the mismarking. It happens. I'm human. I can live with myself. But now what? If this was a 7, that would be the 7 in the row below. And in fact, that would then be 8, 9. That's quite interesting. If that was a 7, it would force this ending to be 8, 9. And that would be the 7. This would be 6, 5, 4. That would have to be 3, 2. Yes, once you put a lower digit on here, you can run it back to the beginning. That would have to be 3, 2. You'd have 8, 9 over here. This 2, 3 would force this not to be the 1, 2 pair. Right, where have I started off? I've started off with this being a 7. And maybe I don't have to start there. If any of these are not the maximum digit out of the 2 of them, then we must run back to a 3, 2 at the start. I don't know. Let us start with the idea that this is a 7. And then the rest of the thermo goes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. This is not the 1, 2 pair that has to populate row 4. That is. And this is 8, 9. And here's the problem with that. And it's absolutely beautiful, but it's wildly complex. Right, Mr. Red Cell. I'm saying Mr. Red Cell is a 7. And I'm going to show you why it's not, I believe. Although, bear with me, because I'm not sure about this. But let's say that the red cell is a 7. The rest of this thermo goes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We know there's a 1, 2 pair in one of those. And given the 2 that we're putting in the bulb, it now has to be over here. And that digit is a 1, my friends. Now that 7... also tells us that the 7 in row 7 is here, and that the end of this thermo goes 8, 9. So we now have 9, 1 in these 2 cells. Now, I will tell you why that is a problem, and it's really interesting, because that puts 2 and 8 in these cells, and makes both of these a 1, 9 pair. Well, that's a hideous X-wing that cannot be allowed to happen, not just because of uniqueness, which you could use, but we don't. But because where would the 1 and 9 in that X-wing go in column 3? Couldn't be in the bottom box, couldn't be in the top box, and then look at the pencil marking here. They'd both have to go into one cell. We don't allow that in Sudoku, it's too cozy. So, this is not a 7 in the red cell. I mean, there may be other ways to progress at this point in the Sudoku. There probably are, given that it's by James, but I'd like to know what they are because I can't immediately see them. I'm now going to put an 8 there. And I'm hoping that this conclusion is somehow transferable. We can take 8 out of those cells. We can take 8 out of these cells. Now that matters because the 8 up here is not accompanied by a 7 in one of these 2 cells. If you can't have 8 in one of those 2, you can't have 7 in one of these. One of them will be 8, but the other one will be less than 7. And therefore in this row, 8 and 7 are one step apart, and 7 now has to be in one of those cells, not in one of these two. And maybe that's helpful. Or maybe it isn't. Maybe I need to work out how to transfer this conclusion about this not being a 9-1 pair into something useful. Oh, well, this can't be 7 anymore. Now we took 7 out of there. Now we took 8 out of there. This can't be 7 anymore. So now there's only one place for 7 in this row, and it's here. And that takes 7 out of this cell. Now, I think this is now a one-step thermo all the way. Because if that's a 6, it obviously goes 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If that's a 9, oh, no. Sorry, putting 8 in there is huge. It stops this cell being 8. I hadn't seen this at all. That can't be 8. This is the 8 in the row. And this is the 7. Oh my goodness. Why am I so blind? There's none so blind as them that cannot see. Now, maybe there was always something available from the height of those digits looking at these cells. Anyway, let's work on it from here. That's a 9. This is a 6, and I can finish this thermo. And now we know where the 2-1 pair is, and it's avoided being over here, which is unsurprising given that it all faltered a bit over here. Now, the bulb is 3 or 4. That we can run up the thermo a little way. In fact, look, we've got 3, 4, 5, 8, 7. That's a 6. This is now not a 6. This is the only place for 6 in row 7. That's not a 6, which is interesting. Oh, look, there's a 4, 5 pair. So that's 7, that's 9. Oh, I think we are underway now. This is a very clever puzzle. That 3 is looking at this pair, and the 2 in the box is looking at this bulb. So that's a 3. These are not 1s. We still haven't resolved that original 1 swordfish. We've only got one of the 1s out of it. And that's a 4, 5 pair, but I don't know which way they go. That's weird. Now, there's a 3 in one of those 2 cells. Oh, there's got to be a 4 and a 5 on this thermo because they can't go here, and by Sudoku now they can't go here. And there's a maximum of 1 low digit there, and there's no 3 on the thermo. So the 4 and the 5 can't start later than here. So I'm going to pencil mark 4 into one of those 2 cells and 5 into one of the next ones. This final cell is going to be quite high, but, well. But pencil marking a 4 there is quite interesting because it puts a 4 onto this thermo. Now remember, these thermos can't begin with 1. So if that was a 4, this thermo would be impossible, because you'd have to put a 2 here and a 1 here, and we're not allowed to do that. So that's the 4. And now I want to say this has to be a 3, but that's not necessarily true. This is 2 or 3. I certainly haven't ruled 2 out of there. Oh, I'm missing all sorts of stuff. There's a 4 in one of these cells. Let's just do some Sudoku. 8 in one of those 2. I'm looking. Oh, there's a 7 on this thermo. That's not so helpful until I know where it is on the thermo. Now, 2, 4, 5. Now, there's also the issue that 2 digits out of 2, 3, 4 go on this. Well, I think we know exactly where they are. And in fact, that means that all 3 digits don't go on this because they don't fit in number order. So 3, 2, and 4 in this box must be confined to those cells. And we've got ourselves a 2, 3 pair here. That can't be a 2. This can't be 2 or 3, so that digit can't be 4 anymore. I'm still remembering the original swordfish that stops it being a 1 on the bulb. So that's a 4. That's where 5 goes now. Now I could pencil mark 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, or 9 in this column. In this column, this has probably been available for ages. Where does 2 go? It's got to be there. This 2 is ruling out that cell. So that's going to finish off the... Is it going to finish off the swordfish? Yes, it is. Well, I mean, it's going to finish off the 1s in the swordfish, which was the key thing. But also, we've got most of the digits on that swordfish done now. Now, these 3 digits are 6, 7, 8 in some order. We need a 9 in the central box, in this position where 9 and 1 was struggling to get in it earlier. This is a 6, 7, 8 triple by Sudoku, and this is a 5. And that can't be 9 anymore, and that can't be 8. And I'm trying for a pair in this column and not getting it. Okay, 3 has to be on this thermo in the same sort of way as we did on the other side. And the thermo cannot have a 1 on it, so the 3 is in one of the first 2 positions. And then there's going to be a 3 in one of those cells. There are some limitations on what's going to happen. Well, maybe even in this column. Let's just have a look at that. We've got a 7 down here. 9, 8, 7 have been used up down here in the column. Oh, well, the 7 has to be in the bottom cell, because you can't put it there because nothing bigger is available. Now, this, oh look, it also sees a 6. Right, this is 5 or 4. That's 3 or 4 or 3. No, yes, this is 2 or 3. I really mismarked that original swordfish. I said you couldn't have 1s in any of these cells, and that wasn't true. It was just these greens I should have been talking about. Dear me, I shouldn't be let loose in the ocean. Oh, hang on, that's not a 4 by Sudoku, that's a 5. This is now a 3-4 pair, so we've got 2 and 6 to place. Now, it's a good thing I've just unmarked that as green, or I'd have ruled that out as being a 2, but I can't do that. This seems to be a known 6. And then I've got 2 and 5 to put in the row. This is getting narrowed down. 1 is in one of those 2 positions. 8 still to place. Now, this is bigger than 5, and it's not 6 or 7. It's 8 or 9. That 3 we know is on the thermo. 3, 2, 9, 4, 5. There's a 1 up here somewhere. How about the central box? Ooh, 5 is in one of those 2 cells, and therefore one of these 2. Okay, I'm going to have another... Oh, this column's got a 4, 5 pair. 6, 4, 5, 7. This is less than 6, and it's not 4 or 5, and it's not 3. It's 1 or 2. I'm sure there's Sudoku to do today here. What's this? I've said it's not 3 because 3 is in one of those cells. It's also not 4, 5, 8, 9, 1 or 2. So this is 6 or 7, and I was pleased with that because I thought it was forming a pair. It is, with that digit. So then if we're looking for the 4 in row 1, that's in one of those 2 cells. Trying to narrow down the 8 into, well, it is in one of those 2, but I don't want to pencil mark across boxes when I don't have to. This is still tricky. I mean, I think I've done some great work in this puzzle, but it's not giving up in any way. I don't particularly know how I thought it was going to work out as a puzzle, but it's not as it has transpired, whatever that was. 5, 6, 6, 9, 8, 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. We know that 4 is in one of those cells, so we know that 4 is in one of these 3. 6. No, I didn't. I forgot it could be there, so it doesn't have to be in one of these two. 6, 7, 2, 8, 5. What am I missing, guys? You've probably seen some very Sudoku-y thing that's available. 4, 5, 8, 3, and the 6, 7 pair. I mean, these are formed from 1, 2, 9. But I don't know, should there be a way of knowing where the 1 goes at this point? There's not a lot of thermo work to do in this puzzle, I do know that. One of these cells is 3, 4 or 5 and the other one is 7 or 8. And the constraints seem different in each case for each digit, which is not what we want to see at this point. Oh, I'm probably just missing something on an absolute no-brainer of a thermo. 4, 5. That is 1 or 8 because it sees the 6, 7 pair in the row and it's got a lot of other digits in its box. If it was a 1, this would be 2, 9. That would be 3, 4. And that would be 8. If this was a 1. If it was an 8, I don't know where that leaves us at all. That is 3, 6 or 7. I'm hoping that some pencil mark is going to pop to the rescue, but it doesn't look like it's trying to do that at the moment. Oh, I'm just being really dense about something. I can feel it. I can feel it now. 4, 5. Still got 2, 3 and 7 to place in this box as well, but they don't feel as helpful. That digit has to be up here. Why isn't this helpful, this 6, 7 pair? That really ought to be. Okay, this column's actually got information in it. So we've got the 4, 5 pair, and we've placed 6 and 7. Everything else is 1, 2, 3, 8 or 9. Now that's interesting. If this was a 2, because that was a 1, this digit would be a naked 9. So if that was a 2, we'd have 1, 9 here, 8 there, and this would be 2 or 3. And that would be a 2, 3, 4, 5 triple, quadruple. With 1 and 8 here. Oh, it looks like that's really, really, really likely. And I thought it was unlikely for this to be a 2. Okay, the alternative is that that's a 6, in which case that's a 2, and then we've got a different 2, 3, 4, 5 quad. Ah, okay, in the first 2, 3, 4, 5 quad, what happened? We had 2, 1, 9. That was 2 or 3. So that had to be 5, and that was going to be 4 in the quad with that as a 2. If this is a 6, that's a 2, that's a 5, and this is still a 4. So this is always 4 in both versions. I mean, if that's what it takes, that is not easy. So we get a 4 up there now. This has become a 3. That's 5 or 8. This is 5 or 7. Got this same T pattern here as here, which hasn't been being incredibly helpful in either case. Now we know there would be a 5 in, oh no, we've got that 4, so that's a 5. Hang on, this can't be a 5. This has been available for ages. That's what my problem has been. I just haven't seen that. So have I worked out something wrong here then? I worked out that that was a 4 in both versions, but it can't be because of that 5 making this a 4. It is blatant Sudoku. So what's going to go wrong now? 2, 1. Well, I said this would be a 9. It sees 3, 4, 1, 2, 8, 7, 5, 6. It is a 9. So we're going to go wrong here in a moment. But it doesn't seem to go wrong. It seems to go all right. So my reasoning was faulty again. And I just needed to look at that row of Sudoku. Oh dear. Well, that's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight. Losing its religion as I'm losing my mind here. That's a 4. That's a 9. I mean, it's been really, really easy for the last 10 minutes, but there we go. Sometimes you just can't see the nose in front of your face. I don't think there's any more mistakes due. I would say that. Right, that's become a 5. This row must be done. I think it is. 7 and 8, that's a 3. Now, across the middle I have 2, 4, 7, and I know where they all go, like that. This 5, 6 pair, they are done. This is 5, 8, 9, yes, in. This is 1, 3, 4, in. Okay, 1 box to finish with a 2, 9 pair and a 1, 3 pair, and that is the solution to Some Like It Hot. I'm not sure if I liked how badly I did on that. I began with mismarking my swordfish. I continued with miscolouring it, or the resulting digits. And then I wound up with, first of all, not spotting a really easy I-wing in row 7, i.e. a single digit write-in, and then convoluting a lie about a 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, do you know what I did? I kept thinking the thermo was going that way round when I was doing the 2, 3, 4, 5 thing. Well, that's just complete brain explosion. Oh, please forgive me. Please forgive me. It's hot. I'll see you again soon on the channel. Bye for now.